guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I do my go-to going out glam makeup. So if you want to see how I go from this to this, it's a really easy glam makeup, but I want to go through tips and tricks that will make it last all day. So we have a super natural base with a bunch of cheek products, a really pretty shimmery eye with eyeliner, a smoky outer corner, and a nice pop of chocolate on the lower lash line, and just a nude glossy lip. So you want to see how to achieve this look and how to make sure your makeup lasts all day? Keep on watching. So as like a pro tip, the first thing that I do is I wear like an old t-shirt when I get ready. I'm going to be using a bunch of powder products like setting my face and eyeshadow, and I don't want it to ruin my outfit or like spill anything. So I'm just wearing this old like PacSun t-shirt. And I haven't done my hair yet, but I like to have it up so I make sure I can blend my foundation everywhere. But the first thing I'm going to do to get this look started is primer. And I find that I like to use a long wearing primer. It is the end of June, early July in Philadelphia, and it is hot. It doesn't help that I'm going to a crowded bar and it's gonna be hot and sweaty and sticky. I really don't appreciate my face melting off. So a primer that I've been loving lately is the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. I bought this in a Sephora Ulta haul, so I can link that video up in the eye or down below so you can see the other products I purchased. But I've used this quite a bit and I love this primer. I find that it really does help with the longevity of my products. This claims to be a high adhering, blurring, surface smoothing, and primer. And I find that because the high adherence claims, my foundation really sticks to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my face. So I just put a little bit out. This is the amount that I use. I'm just gonna blend that everywhere. So definitely using like a gripping primer. I think Cover FX has a gripping primer. The Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Something that really does keep your makeup on longer is important. I think when you're going out somewhere, it's like hot, sweaty, crowded, so your face doesn't melt off. And this makeup application just worked for me. Something I can do before I go out at like 5 o'clock and come back late at night. And when I look in the mirror when I'm getting like undone, I'm like, my makeup's still on. So you can definitely feel the tackiness in this primer. Although I love a more dewy and light foundations day to day, that doesn't have the staying powder, and that's a little bit more matte or natural and medium. So I'm gonna go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade number 415. I find that this foundation really does last well. As a side note, this foundation does contain SPF 25, but I personally don't notice a crazy flashback. But if you're planning on taking photography with your friends on a night out, you might wanna test it before you go. But I found that this foundation has a really long wear time, plus with the primer, I know it will stay on all day. And I'm just gonna blend that out with a beauty sponge. I also like how this foundation is buildable, so I can go in with the just amount of right coverage that I want instead of having too much and making a mistake. Because is there anything worse than when it comes to makeup, putting too much of a product on, like especially blush and bronzer, because I think we've all been victim of having bright red cheeks and your makeup efforts are thwarted because you poured out too much product. So I find that this is really buildable. It has a nice natural finish. The shade range is pretty decent too. But obviously, just because I'm mentioning these products in particular doesn't mean you have to go buy them. If you have a foundation that you really love that holds up well for you, definitely use that one. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more foundation just to cover my T-zone and my cheeks, because that's where I experience the most redness. And I'm really taking my time blending this out, bringing it down to my neck so it matches everything, and just making sure it looks as seamless as possible. We are gonna go in with a little bit of concealer. I actually don't wear concealer with foundation on an everyday basis, but if I'm going for a glam look, I will. Also, make sure you blend it on your ears, so let's take your neck and your ears are all one color, because you don't want your ears being a totally different color than the rest of your face. And I'm really getting that around the crevices of my nose, because that's where I experience the most like cakiness, and it just doesn't oil buildup and just the unflattering parts. For concealer, I'm gonna go in my Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer, and this is in the shade 007 Natural Rose. This concealer is on the more full coverage side, but I like that for glam days. And I'm only gonna put a little bit sparingly, and I can blend it out because once again, I can always go back in with more product. So I'm going to put it on the areas where I wanna highlight. So the tip of my forehead, my nose, Cupid's bow, my chin, and of course, under my eyes. I find that this concealer doesn't crease terribly too. And my main makeup issue is my makeup breaks up. So I used to wear foundation. I'd go out with my friends and then you could just see my nose separating. I don't have that issue with this concealer or any of the products that I'm recommending, but everybody's skin type is different. My skin is pretty dry, but it does get a little bit more oily in the summer. But for the most part, it is dry and it's getting more sensitive as I get older. So I'm just blending this concealer out again with the same beauty sponge. And I like to look up when I do my under eye so I can really get close as possible to that waterline. So now that we're all concealed and I'm happy with the coverage, I'm gonna go in and set my face. When it comes to setting powder, my tried and true is the number 7 Translucent Light, Perfect Light Loose Setting Powder in the shade Translucent. This is available in Target and I just use the shade Translucent and I find that it's perfect for me and it doesn't have flashback. So I'm gonna go in on my sponge. I just use a light amount and this is gonna be enough for like a third of my face. So I'm just gonna go in and set everything, set under my eyes, and this really helps keep everything in place and ensure that it doesn't move throughout the day. I also like using a sponge to set as opposed to a brush because I find that it gives a natural finish. It can really push the products into my face. And also making sure I'm blending up into my hairline. That's why I also like to do my makeup with my hair up so I can get that product in there because my hair naturally side parts and like falls all over my face and I don't need to get foundation in my hair. Just a little bit more setting on my nose and my smile lines because those can be really prominent too. So now that their face is all set, I'm gonna do my eyebrows off camera and we'll come back and do the eyeshadow. So I brought you in a little bit closer to do the eye makeup. An important thing I forgot to mention is to set your eyebrows. I have naturally really full eyebrows, but my issue is my hairs will go every which way. I'll have some going up, some going down, some to the left, some to the right. So I make sure I set mine, and to set mine, I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. This is the brow gel that I swear by, and it's the only one that I use, and it's like hairspray for your brows. So if you don't like your brows to have that tacky, like hairspray feeling, you won't like this, but if you want your brows to not move and stay in line, this is the way to go. Because I have more oily eyelids, I always go in with an eye primer. But if you want your eyeshadows to last for long occasions and you typically use concealer and a loose setting powder, I suggest subbing out for eye primer. My favorite eyeshadow primer is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Eyeshadow Primer in the shade Invisipink. This one grabs onto my shadows and doesn't let go. They don't crease, they don't budge, they don't transfer. It's my favorite, and that's why I continue to repurchase it and talk about it on my channel. So I put a little bit onto my eyelid, and then I'm gonna blend that out with this sponge. I do think this eyeshadow primer has a bit of a learning curve. You don't wanna use too much or else it won't really, it'll like kind of goop up on itself. You don't wanna go in immediately after setting it down because it's still a little bit tacky and your eyeshadow will blend unevenly. So I'm just gonna give this a few seconds to dry down before we go in with our eye products. For eyeshadow today, I think I'm gonna keep it kind of light. So I'm gonna use the Modern Renaissance. Can you see how much I love this eyeshadow palette? And I'm gonna use this for my mattes, but I'm thinking about doing a little bit more bold of a shimmer. So for my lid shade, I'm going to go in with Pink Champagne from Anastasia Beverly Hills. You can see all this loose powder I have in my shirt, which is why I recommend wearing a t-shirt if you're planning on setting your face and going full glam and not messing up your outfit. So now that the eyeshadow primer is ready to go, we can go ahead and start blending. So I'm gonna start on this BH Cosmetics Pro No. 3 brush, and I'm gonna go in with a mix of the shades Burnt Orange and Golden Ochre. So these two right here, just to help define our crease. As with any Anastasia palette, there's gonna be fallout. So keep that in mind. If you're someone that prefers to do your eyes before your face, totally feel free, but that's just not my routine. So I'm just gonna blend this into the crease. And I really want this to be blown out and diffused and kind of go a little bit higher than my natural crease. Blend this, and I like to go into circular motions and windshield wipers to make sure everything is nice and diffused. And I like this palette. I mean, you could probably tell by the pan that I like this palette, but I think these mattes are just staple shades. So even if you don't have this palette, I like just going in with warm brown shades. And actually, I believe these exact shades are in Soft Glam, so you could totally use that palette to replicate this look as well, which is one of the only Anastasia palettes that I do not have in my collection. So as you can see, that color goes a little bit higher than my natural crease, But I'm gonna go in with a little bit of raw sienna, which is another one of the browns, and just mix that in because it's a little bit too light for my liking. So once again, I'm gonna take that one a little bit higher up. Because I have slightly hooded eyes, I wanna make sure that this color is appearing when I open my lid. So now you can totally see that color. And I'm gonna go back and do the same thing on the other eye. So while I still have some excess product on my brush, I'm gonna blend that under the lower lash line. I'm typically not a dramatic lower lash line kind of person. It's just not my style, but I like to have a little something to help tie in the look all together. So just a nice, easy blended look. So I'm going to go switch brushes, and this is the BH Cosmetics number 8 brush, but I got this in a set. I like this brush because of the shape. It's tapered and it's different, so it's not as rounded and fluffy as the other one. And we're gonna use this brush to go into the shade Cypress Umber, which is this dark brown. And we're gonna use that just to smoke out the outer corner of the eye. So just placing that there and just blending it out. And I like to stamp the darker colors first and then blend. And I just want a little bit of definition. I'm not going for a super smoky eye. I just want the outer corners to be a little bit more defined. And I like this color as opposed to black because I feel like it's a little bit less harsh. And I'm also going with a nice brown on my waterline too today. And I'm going to take whatever's product is left over and put that under the lower lash line. So now our eyeshadow is pretty much done. I could go in with the shimmers from the palette, but I want something more intense, so we are gonna go in with Pink Champagne from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So let's keep it in this little single palette. And it's this shade right here. And while this is a $12 single eyeshadow, its payoff is so worth it. So I'm not really gonna cut the crease per se, but I am gonna put down some more of that eye primer to make sure that shimmer sticks to it. And I like the Fenty because the applicator really allows you to precisely define where you want to put that shade. So I'm going to put that all over the blank space on our lid. And I'm going to go over the color Cypress Umber so we can blend that out with the shade. So just, got a little bit up there, but just putting this onto our lid. And this will provide a super tacky base and that shimmer will not go anywhere. So to apply the shimmer, you can go in with your finger, but I'm going to use a brush. And this is from BH Cosmetics again. It's from a brush kit, I don't remember, but it's a nice, flat, tiny, detailed brush. So I can really put it precisely where I want to. So I'm just gonna stamp this on top of that primer. And I like to work in little sections. Once again, you can always use your finger and then go back with the brush to define it, but I just feel like going straight in with a brush today. And I'm just placing the shimmer everywhere where we put the eye primer because that eye primer will not let the shimmer get anywhere. It is so long lasting. And I'm going to just tap it over Cypress Umber in order to blend out that outer edge. So this is what the eye looks like. I'm gonna put the shimmer on the other eye off camera and be right back. So for the next part, I am gonna put on eyeliner. And because our eyeshadow shape is very rounded today, I'm not gonna do a wing, but I'm just gonna line the top and tight line because I like that little dramatic black effect. My favorite eyeliner at the moment is a Sephora Collection waterproof liquid liner, and it's a brush tip. But I find that this is truly waterproof and it does not go anywhere. You can sweat, you can cry, you can do whatever, and you'll still have eyeliner on your eyes. So I'm just gonna apply a really thin line to the top of my lash line. And I find that this eyeliner also doesn't have issues going over the shimmer. It doesn't skip, it doesn't do any of that foolishness. I did make that line slightly thicker as it went to the outer corner, but that's pretty much it. I tightline with liquid liner. I know this is not for everyone, but it's just what I do. So I'm going to put the liquid liner underneath my lash line. So that's what the eye looks like. I'm gonna do the eyeliner on my left eye, and then we'll move on to mascara and finish off the face. Now, if you love false lashes look great with this look. I'm just not that kind of girl. So I'm gonna, in my Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara, and apply a very generous coat. I love this mascara, and I find that it just really thickens up and blackens my lashes, and I don't really see a need for false lashes. Also, my false lash collection is very sad. So maybe if I bought somewhere, I'd be more inclined to wear them, but I'm very happy with my natural lashes and don't see a need for falsies. So I like to wiggle the brush starting at the root back and forth, and then do that a few times, and then really get those tips. The ends of my lashes are blonde because of my auburn hair, so I find they can sometimes look shorter in person, so I really want to make sure those tips are fully coated. So I get that, make sure I separate any chunks that are there, and I find that my lashes just look super flirty and long. So our eyes are almost done, but remember I said we're gonna go in with a liner in our waterline. And to line our waterline, we're doing with the Milk Makeup CEO Cream Gel Color. Is what they're called? Long Wear Gel Eyeliner. This is the longest wearing eyeliner in my collection. It's also the most expensive, or one of the most expensive eyeliners in my collection. So I'm just gonna put this on my waterline, but this will not move. And I find that if I have a problem with eyeliner anywhere, it's that, you know, you put your waterline on and it's super smoky and cool, and then it transfers or it's gone. Especially I wear contacts. This doesn't get in my contacts, which is a major thing that you don't really think about that much. So just putting that in my waterline. And the other end of this brush does have a little smudgy, so I'm just gonna smudge a little bit of that out. So you do have playtime with this eyeliner, but once it sets for good. I typically don't wear eyeliner on my waterline on an everyday basis. I just love the way that it looks with like a more dramatic eye. Then once again, I'm going to go back in and smudge that a little bit. So now that our eye look is completely done, we can zoom out and finish off the face. So I've been doing an unofficial Shop My Stash. I don't film it, but I like to take out old products that I have, make sure I'm getting use out of them. And the one that I brought into my collection this week is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Powder Contour Kit in the shade Light to Medium. So I am gonna mix these two setting shades. It's Banana and Vanilla? Is it Vanilla? I think so. Banana and Vanilla on this rounded, I don't even know where this is from. This is also from BH Cosmetics, what a surprise. And mix them together and just put them under my eye for a brightening effect. And these powders are very potent, so they are brightening. So I suggest going in with a light hand, and I'm just gonna use a little bit. It also helps set that, but more importantly, I go in for that brightening effect. And I am gonna contour. I don't contour regularly, but especially because this is in my Shop My Stash, and I just wanna get more use out of it. Would you like to see me film these Shop My Stash videos? Let me know if there's some videos that you enjoy watching, because I tend to pull out a weekly eyeshadow palette and a few face products to use. So the contour kit is in the contour kit. The contour shade is in Fawn, and I'm just going in on this flat topped, probably BH Cosmetics brush. And just gonna put a little bit on my cheeks. So I'm just using a faint amount. I don't want anything too harsh. And I like this brush because I feel like I can precisely apply it. And I'm also gonna go with my bronzer next, so I'll be able to help blend that out in this area. I'm just gonna put the slightest bit, whatever's remaining, on my nose. So just that, a very faint contour, but it's a little something something, and it makes me feel better about having some pasta yesterday for dinner. So for bronzer, I like to use this really fluffy brush from Crown Brushes, and I've been mixing two bronzers together recently. So I have the Lorac Baked Hand Line Bronzer in the shade Matte Tan, and the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. So I'm just gonna go back and forth between the two of these and apply them generously. I love bronzer, especially in the summer months, because I can't tell I'm super pale. It just gives the illusion that I'm a little bit more tan than I am. And I go out in the sun a little bit more than I do. So I definitely concentrate that on my cheeks. I'll put some on my forehead, down my nose, and my chin. And that just instantly helps bronze up my face and makes it look so healthy and warm. For highlighter, I'm gonna go into my Mary Luminizer. I like doing highlighter before blush because I feel like the blush can help blend it out and make it look a little bit more natural. So I go on the Studio 5 London brush. I'm just gonna go with a little bit of the Mary Luminizer and mostly concentrate it on my cheekbones, but also the other high points of my face. And this highlighter, I was gonna say this bronzer. This highlighter is just perfect for my skin tone year round. I find that because I'm so fair, a lot of highlighters can leave a gray cast, but this one just looks so flattering. You can't really see it on my face until it hits the light. And I love to just strobe my forehead. I think I want a little bit more glow, so I'm gonna go with the Ofra Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Star Island. Just gonna pick that up on the tip of the brush and put that just on my cheekbones, because this one is as glowy as highlighters get. But I just want a little bit more something something. For blush, I'm gonna go in this Little Baby Hot Mama sample from the Balm on this e.l.f. blush brush. I like this blush because it's shimmery and natural, and I feel like because our bronzers were pretty matte, this looks really good, and I just like the colors with the rest of my complexion and my makeup look. So I'm gonna bring it onto the apples of my cheeks and then blend it out. And I like the shimmery in the shimmer in the blush too. I just think it's natural, it's pretty. It's just one of my favorite blush colors for summer. And if I ever get through this sample, because I feel like it's never ending, I'll definitely buy the full size. And then I just bring it back. I'm gonna apply a little bit of the blush on my nose because I just love that little red nose effect. And now we're gonna move on to our lips. For our lips, I would have used the Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fussy, but unfortunately, I don't know where it is. So if you could please send your thoughts and prayers, that would be appreciated. But because our look is a little bit kind of dramatic and I have a lot of smokiness on the eyes, I'm gonna go in with something soft and simple on the lips. So I'm just gonna use the Kathleen Lights X ColourPop Lip Gloss in the shade Moonchild. This is just a super pretty nude with a bunch of sparkle, and I find that lip gloss is just low maintenance, something I can reapply when I'm out and not really have to worry about how it looks. Super pretty, super nude and natural, so it doesn't distract from our face makeup and our eye makeup. And the final tip that I have is to set your face. Now, I am not religious when it comes to setting sprays, except in the summer months. And sometimes I think that all setting sprays are made equal, but the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray is a line above the rest. A line above the rest? Is that what people even say? Is miles above the rest. This one will really lock in your makeup, and I don't know why I keep buying travel size because I use it all the time, and when I finally get this one, I'm gonna take the plunge and purchase the full size. But this one will make your makeup last, and I find that with all of our other techniques, putting down eyeshadow primer before we do our shimmers and before our mattes, putting on a long-wearing primer, setting our face, using products that really aren't creamy and that last well and that we trust, setting our brows, using mascara that's not gonna run, and eyeliner that's not gonna run. This setting spray is just like the icing on the cake to make everything last. So I'm gonna use a very generous amount and set my face. So let that sink in. And I am gonna grab my beauty sponge and kind of press that into the face. I learned this tip from Jackie Aina. Instead of letting the setting spray just sit there, if you press it in, it really gets in your skin. So I'm just going back with that same sponge. I used to be worried this would lift up my foundation, but I find that because we primed and we powdered, it's never been an issue. And now that setting spray is really in there and it's locking that makeup so it doesn't go anywhere. And this is the completed look. It's effortless, it's glam, it's relatively easy, but most importantly, it's long wearing. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned some tips and tricks to make your makeup last all day for a super glam night out. If you did like this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel and coming back for new videos every week. But I'm gonna go get changed, do my hair, and head on out. Hope to see you in my next one.